These body cams proves that these cops are corrupt. Number 1. Corrupt cop planting drugs in innocent people's cars. Zachary Wester, a former deputy sheriff in Jackson County, has been sentenced to 12 years in prison for the act of planting drugs on multiple drivers. The 28-year-old Wester received a 12.5-year sentence in state prison after being found guilty on 19 out of 67 charges in May. These charges range from serious offenses such as racketeering, official misconduct, fabricating evidence, and false imprisonment, to lesser offenses including possession of controlled substances, drug paraphernalia, and perjury. Although he faced a total of 67 charges, most of them were dismissed after a week-long trial in the 14th Judicial Circuit, which covers Bay, Calhoun, Gulf, Holmes, Jackson, and Washington counties. The former patrol deputy for the Jackson County Sheriff's Office was accused of placing methamphetamine and drug-related items in the vehicles of innocent drivers during traffic stops in 2017 and 2018. During the sentencing, prosecutor Tom Williams requested a 15-year prison term for Wester, which was nearly 10 years longer than the calculated statutory sentence, based on the severity of the charges and mitigating factors. Williams argued to Circuit Judge James Goodman that the calculation based on the score sheet failed to consider the broader context. Wester's falsified court records were used to wrongfully convict people in the same courthouse where he himself was found guilty. Williams characterized Wester's actions as a severe betrayal of the public's trust, stating that it was an egregious breach of the responsibility bestowed upon him as a law enforcement officer. He emphasized that individuals willingly grant significant powers to the government for the sake of public safety, and in return, they expect those in authority to fulfill their duty. However, Wester chose to abuse that trust and commit crimes against the very people he had sworn to protect. During the court proceedings, Teresa Odom, one of Wester's victims, expressed the impact his actions had on her life. She mentioned that he had stripped her of her credibility as a mother and grandmother over the course of the past 2.5 years. While Odom wished no harm upon him, she believed that he could only truly understand the magnitude of his actions once he became a parent himself. In contrast, many letters were submitted in support of Wester, totaling around 50. Additionally, a few character witnesses, including Wester's wife, appealed to Judge Goodman for leniency in sentencing. Rebecca Wester, the wife of Zachary Wester, portrayed her husband as a compassionate and loving individual who was always ready to assist others, both in his personal life and as a deputy. After his law enforcement career came to an end, they relocated to Wakulla County and started a landscaping company. Rebecca expressed the profound impact of the situation, stating that a part of both of them had died as a result. She described Zach in the courtroom as a strong man of faith who had been greatly missed, particularly within their own household. During the proceedings, Wester's defense team, comprised of Ryan Davis and Michael Offerman from Tallahassee, requested that their client be released from custody at the Jackson County Correctional Facility while awaiting the appeals process for the case. However, Judge Goodman denied the motion. Although acknowledging that Wester was not a flight risk and that bond could be an option for the racketeering conviction based on case law, the judge highlighted the other 18 counts on which Wester was being sentenced. Considering the convictions on multiple charges, Judge Goodman concluded that they were sufficient grounds to deny any form of appellate bond in this case. Number 2. A corrupt cop asks for a sexual favor. A former deputy of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office has agreed to be permanently banished from the county after confessing to offering to drop charges against an individual in exchange for sexual favors. The incident occurred in August of 2018 when William Miller, who was off duty and in his personal vehicle, contacted a woman that he had recently arrested. He requested that she accompany him for a ride, claiming that he wanted to discuss the possibility of using her as a confidential informant. The woman, Ashley Roberts, stated that she had no information to provide. However, sensing that something suspicious was unfolding, she discreetly activated the voice recording on her cell phone. Through this recording, she captured Miller, repeatedly soliciting sexual favors in return for dismissing the charges against her. Here is what the recording said. "I told him I would go to prison if it took me doing something sexual with you, sir," Robert said in an interview. Following his misconduct, Miller was swiftly terminated from his position and subsequently charged with bribery and violation of the oath of office, both of which are felony offenses. However, in a controversial turn of events, he was sentenced to 8 years of probation and a $2,000 fine without any prison time. Ashley Roberts, the woman who was propositioned by Miller, expressed dissatisfaction with this outcome. Monroe County District Attorney Jonathan Adams clarified that Miller willingly forfeited his right to request first offender status, which would have eventually allowed for the conviction to be expunged. By choosing not to pursue this option, Miller's conviction will remain on his record permanently, impacting him for the rest of his life. Moreover, the conviction will be reported to the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, effectively preventing Miller from ever working as a law enforcement officer again. As part of his sentence, Miller agreed to be banished from Butte, Lamar, and Monroe counties. He has since relocated to Pennsylvania, where he will serve his probationary period.